Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agents in Clinton. And news today is brought to you by Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com to find out more. The Clinton City Council put its fiscal year 2026 budget on file at the Tuesday night Clinton City Council meeting. City Clerk Cameron Wilford read a prepared statement from City Treasurer Clinton Lichtenwalter, who could not make the meeting Tuesday. The report indicates Clinton will dip into reserves for nearly $750,000 this year.
General fund revenues have increased over the last several years, with the largest increases being in sales tax and income tax. General fund expenses are budgeted approximately $2 million higher than the average. This is due to some large inflationary increases in operating expenses, as well as some large capital items, including an elevator upgrade, the carryover of a major upgrade to one of our larger parks, 2 new squad cars, as well as several large capital projects in the street department. This budget projects that we will dip into our reserves by approximately $750,000. The fiscal year 26 projected reserve balance in the general fund would be about 14 months of operating and capital expenses. The water budget includes a 5% increase, and the sewer budget includes a 3% increase to the respective portions of the water bill. This equates to a $1.20 increase in the overall minimum monthly budget.
The report from Lichtenwalter notes another year of pensions that are well funded.
The self-funded health insurance fund continues with another fairly healthy year. Prescription costs have grown significantly in the recent years, and the insurance committee is reviewing the cause and potential solution with the TPA on this. There will again be no increase in rates to the departments or employees for the fiscal year 2026. There have been no premium increases since the fiscal year 16. Our 3 pension funds are in very healthy positions. IMRF is currently 96.25% funded as of 12/31 of 2023. Police pension as of 4/30/2024 was 95.68% funded on an actuarial basis and 90.97% funded on a market basis. Fire pension as of 4/30/24 was 140.72% funded on an actuarial basis and 137% funded on a market basis.
Warner Hospital CEO Paul Skowron presented the hospital's budget for the year. They are projecting a positive bottom line just short of $900,000.
The self-funded health insurance.
We're projecting revenue 5% higher than last year's. Gross patient revenue for fiscal year 26 for the hospital, $43.8 million. And a bottom line, we're projecting a positive bottom line of $892,000. So I call this a conservative budget still. In the past, I've always kept it conservative. We've always exceeded the budget. Our bottom line through March for this fiscal year is $2.7 million. However, this year I'm especially concerned about being conservative because of some of the legislative changes coming out of Washington. There's discussion of Medicaid cuts that we don't know what they might be yet. And as a result, we're factoring in some cuts. Hopefully they don't happen, but it's a work in progress, as you know, in Washington right now. As well as there's some oddball things that could happen, like subsidies on pharmaceuticals. We can't budget for that, but what we can do is keep our budget, conservative, and that's why we're continuing to stay conservative, but still a positive bottom line of $892,000 for this coming fiscal year.
The city will vote on the new budget May 6th when newly elected Mayor Helen Michalossi will be sworn in. The council Tuesday night also had discussions around code enforcement in the city. They also approved the collective bargaining agreement with the United Association of Plumbers and Pipe Fitters, local number 137, and $20,000 for server upgrades in the Clinton Police Department. Parents of little Maroons ready for kindergarten next year will want to take advantage of a program later this week to introduce their youngsters to what's in store for them in the fall. Principal of Lincoln and Douglas Schools in Clinton, Jessica Patrick, indicates Camp Kindergarten is a chance for students in pre-K or those who did not attend pre-K but will be starting kindergarten next year to get introduced to the school building and spend time with the staff of the building.
So Camp Kindergarten is probably one of my favorite events of the year. We did it last year. It was our first time last year, so we're happy to do it again this year. It's on Thursday. So what this is the time for our incoming kindergartners to come into the buildings. They get to meet the kindergarten teachers, explore the kindergarten classrooms. It gives teachers an opportunity to go ahead and meet them, start building relationships, but they also have a little bit of time to start gathering some just basic and essential like pre-academic skills. And that helps us build balanced class list. And then at the same time, I'm giving an orientation to families. So just a little insight of what to expect in kindergarten, how they can help and how we can partner just to kind of set our kindergartners up for success.
Patrick explains students will go with some of the teachers around the building, while she will keep parents back to address them on how to prepare their students for school in the fall. For some, kindergarten will be their first time in a classroom setting.
RSVP, so just as helpful for us to kind of make sure that our groups are organized, that we have everything prepared. So we've asked them to RSVP. I think we have about 70. So we're getting closer and closer to the number of kindergartners that we're expecting in August. Last year, we had almost all kindergartners attend Camp Kindergarten that then registered and came to us in August, which is huge. It's just really beneficial. So when they come in, we're going to introduce them to myself and to our kindergarten teams. And then at that time, I keep all of the families with me in the cafeteria, and I give them a little bit of an orientation. We talk about a day in the life of a kindergartner. I start giving them some tips and tricks of how they can partner and kind of support at home, what we're doing at school. And then at the same time, our campers, our incoming kindergartners, are with our kindergarten teachers, and they're playing a couple of centers. We're doing some very informal observations, a little bit of screening, and it just really gives them time to become familiar with the environment. Thursday is a no preschool attendance day. So we gave them kind of the day off, so that way they're able to come attend with their grown-ups, but then that way our preschool teachers can also help with screening and just help with there are a lot of moving parts going on, because at the same time that we have our new kindergartners visiting classrooms, our current kindergartners are actually visiting first grade classrooms. So they are getting kind of the lay of the land of first grade, meeting teachers and learning all about first grade. So a lot of moving parts, but it's a really good and beneficial day for us. So about this time of the year, some anxiety about what's to come for next year starts to amp up in students and teachers and parents. And it's just really a good way to get in front of that and help everybody become familiar with what August will look like.
Additionally, Camp Kindergarten is Thursday at Douglas School, and Lincoln Schools. Screening for kindergarten used to be a regular practice in Clinton. Patrick wants to bring it back. Additionally, with students who did not do any form of pre-K, she felt this program was very necessary.
It's really beneficial to do any kind of kindergarten screening. And I believe it was in place maybe before COVID, but hadn't come back since COVID. Mm-hmm. So once I came aboard as principal of Douglas and Lincoln, that was something that was really high priority for me, was to start meeting those students that were going to be joining us as kindergartners in the fall. For some of our students, we've already met them because they've gone through our preschool program, but we still have quite a few that we have not met. And we just didn't want to meet them for the first time in August if we could avoid it. So it's really nice meeting them in April. We get to know a little bit about them. They get to know a little bit about us. I think from a parent perspective, it helps to alleviate some anxiety that they might have about separating when kindergarten rolls around. Sure. So they've already tackled that during Camp Kindergarten. They've already separated a little bit and started tackling those big changes. There's so many benefits to it that it was definitely a must-do for us.
Yeah, for sure. So Camp Kindergarten is again this Thursday at Douglas School. It's from 9 to 10:30, and at Lincoln School it will be from 1:15 to 2:45. Patrick asked parents who want to participate to RSVP. You can call the respective school your child will be attending. She also notes if you cannot make either event, be sure to still contact the school because they will have materials for both parents and students. News time is 19 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Still to come this morning in news, a McLean County school leader is weighing in on the proposed cell phone ban bill that is taking up a lot of attention of school leaders in Illinois right now. That story comes up later this morning in news. Earlier this week, students from the Central Illinois CEO program stopped by the WHOW Morning Show to highlight their year so far and their upcoming trade show for their individual businesses they've started. On the WHOW Morning Show Tuesday, Ava Smith and Olivia Wendell from Warrensburg-Latham highlighted the group's upcoming Shark Tank event later this week.
So for Shark Tank, we get the chance to have 10 minutes with the sharks to pitch our business to them, and they can ask us questions, and then they pick one winner at the end to win a $250 grant for their business to keep it rolling. And it's just, we have, I believe, 4 or 5 sharks, and they are all people that we have interacted with throughout the year. They all come together, and we have visitors come and watch also. And we pitch our business to them, and they have the opportunity to ask us questions and really dig into the details of our business.
Superintendent Cheryl Warner indicates the CEO program does everything off campus and introduces students to local businesses with hands-on learning through the process of establishing a group business. Then each student creates their own business.
That program is a collaborative program between 4 different districts: Warrensburg-Latham, Maroa-Forsyth, Blue Ridge, and also Clinton. And it's a pretty select program. We typically only have approximately 15 students in this program. It's a very non-traditional type of setting where these students every day are off campus working with either their facilitator, who is Melanie Brown, hired by the board of CEO, and or doing business visits locally through the 4 communities. They start their program by creating a group entrepreneurial business and raising funds for charity. And then they eventually tailor off and they create their own individual business, which is what they're about to launch pretty soon here. They've got a Shark Tank event coming up this week, which I got to tell you is one of my all-time favorite events to go watch, because they have to plug their business like the true show of Shark Tank. So, you know, it's kind of in the hot seat, right? And they do a fabulous job. And then they'll launch their individual businesses at the trade show, which is actually May 1st.
The trade show for the Central Illinois CEO program is again Thursday, May 1st at Hickory Point Mall in Forsyth. Get more information at centralillinoisceo.com or follow them on Facebook and Instagram. The Central Illinois CEO program, like Warner mentioned, has students from Blue Ridge, Clinton, Maroa-Forsyth, and Warrensburg-Latham high schools. 22 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Still to come in news this morning, a McLean County school leader is weighing in on the proposed cell phone ban for Illinois schools, and we've got this week's crop report. Still to come in news on this Wednesday.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at BaumChevyBuick.com right from the start.
Experience the power of better connection with Connexus Fiber Internet. Connexus delivers ultra-fast, reliable speeds to keep you connected at the speed of life. Whether you're working from home, streaming your favorite shows, or gaming with your friends, Connexus has you covered. Say goodbye to buffering and dropped calls and say hello to Fiber Fast Internet. Ready to upgrade your connection? Sign up today by clicking the Connexus icon at DeWittDailyNews.com. Nothing connects us like Connexus.
News time is 23 minutes after 7 o'clock here on this Wednesday. Again, I'm Seth Lawrence with you folks today for this expanded local newscast. Illinois school leaders are watching closely a proposed ban of cell phones in schools. The legislation is being touted by Illinois Democrats in the newest legislative cycle. Dr. Lisa Taylor is the superintendent of Heyworth Schools and says her district does not face a lot of discipline issues when it comes to cell phones.
Yeah, so it sounds like the governor wants this to go through. So I think it probably will, not for this upcoming school year, but for the next one, I believe. And so we discuss it every year when we update our student handbook and talk about it. You know, everybody's situation is unique. We don't have a lot of discipline issues with cell phones. So generally our expectation and rule is if any adult asks you to put your cell phone away and you don't comply, then you would go to the office. And so that's probably a kid or two a year. Our kids are generally respectful of adults, which is great.
Mhm.
However, cell phones are a distractor, right? They are for you and I. Can't go anywhere and they're not being used at the doctor's office. And you think about how many things you miss just checking a quick text or getting online. So I understand the rationale behind it, especially in a school setting where the focus should be learning.
Educators are often on the side of local control, and Dr. Taylor is no different. She hopes the state of Illinois will let them make their own decisions around cell phones to do what is best for them.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue I have is local control. And with 800 school districts, right, we all have different needs in terms of cell phones, and we should be able to make those decisions, but it doesn't sound like that's going to happen for us. I tend to be more of a responsible use type person. I was a computer teacher, a business teacher. And so I do want kids to know when they should use it, when they shouldn't, rather than a complete ban. So it's a little bit surprising to me, and especially that we're not getting to make that decision. And so there'll be a lot to work through in the next year as we prepare for that, and just communication with families, that sort of thing. But I do think about it often because I find myself on my phone so much. And when I broke mine, you go through this like 24-hour kind of panic period. Like I should be checking my phone. I should, because it's just such a habit. I think about young minds and their lack of ability to control those impulses. Discipline issues, although we don't have a lot with kids refusing to turn off their phone or give up their phone. Anytime there's drama, it does usually start, right? Via cell phones, social media, that sort of thing.
Right.
So we might buy some time back. I think it'll be interesting to see, what we really do get back.
For educators, the cell phone has transformed the ability of kids to access information and taught them to use, and the hope is to teach them to use that resource wisely. Dr. Taylor explains that it has now lent itself to AI, or artificial intelligence, in the classroom.
Yeah, that's the bigger transition we're going through. I think when cell phones, I was a teacher when cell phones first became a huge issue, right? And now it's really AI. So I feel like we're a little bit behind at the state level. Like we've learned to manage cell phones for the most part, but now it's AI. And it's, you can ask ChatGPT anything and it could look like a text, and kids can do it quick, right? They're way faster than we are. Again, I err on the side of the responsible use. We have had a few cheating issues, right? And we've gone through it with them. We have our teachers teaching kids when to use AI and when not, right? My son just took an exam and he's in graduate school, and the questions were use ChatGPT to respond to these questions. But then the other part of it was now analyze that information and give me making it teaching responsible use. And so I think we have a responsibility in that area, and hopefully we're past the obvious cheating things, but it's going to be much more overwhelming and a bigger change for us than cell phones.
No legislation has been passed regarding cell phone usage in schools. Clinton Junior High School was one of the first to have a cell phone ban in classrooms during the school day, since several other schools have taken up their own policies. Planters are running in parts of Illinois with a window of good weather this week. Still, Brad Summa, with the director of the USDA Nass Heartland region, notes planting remains behind the averages.
For the Illinois corn plant, the corn planted has now reached 1% compared to the 5-year average of 4%. And for the soybeans have been planted across the fields in 2% of the state, equal to the 5-year average.
Summa notes the limited time available in the fields because of the wet field conditions and rainfall around the state.
There were 2.7 days suitable for field work in the week ending April 13th. Statewide, the average temperature was 46.1 degrees, 3.2 degrees below normal. Precipitation averaged 0.23 inches, which was 0.72 inches below normal as well. The top soil moisture supply is now rated at 1%, very short, 10% short, 69% adequate, and 20% surplus. Subsoil moisture supply was rated 1% very short, 27% short, 55% adequate, and 17% surplus.
Some updates on winter wheat and pasture conditions.
Winter wheat headed reached 1% compared to the 5-year average of 3%. And the winter wheat condition was rated 1% poor, 33% fair, 57% good, and 9% excellent. For the Illinois cattlemen, the pasture condition was rated 3% very poor, 14% poor, 37% fair, 31% good, and 15% excellent.
Some planners have even started rolling in central Illinois with one of the best stretches of weather so far this spring. New streams to Facebook and YouTube this morning brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. News brought to you by Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton, your Silverado headquarters, and brought to you by Connexus, offering fiber internet in Clinton. Click their icon at DeWittDailyNews.com for more. Get news anytime at DeWittDailyNews.com.
With SRN News, I'm Rich Thomason in Washington. Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland leading the way as Democrats rally around an illegal alien, an alleged MS-13 gang member deported by the Trump administration to his native El Salvador. New York State's top law enforcement officer, Attorney General Letitia James, reportedly the subject of scrutiny by the feds over allegations of mortgage fraud. Elon Musk and his Doge team touting the latest findings, hundreds of millions of dollars worth of fraudulent unemployment claims. School district officials say a suspect in a shooting at a Dallas high school yesterday wounded 4 students, drew a heavy police presence, has been taken into custody. Dallas Fire Rescue says 3 of the students wounded by gunfire, while the 4th was injured in the lower body. And on Wall Street this morning, Dow futures down 50 points. More details at srnnews.com.
45 Bible. With SRN Sports, I'm George Williams. NBA action last night. The playoffs began with 4 teams competing in 2 play-in games. And in the one, you had the Magic defeating the Hawks 120-95, and the Warriors eliminated the Grizzlies in the other 121-116. Tonight, the Heat and the Bulls will take the floor, as will the Mavericks and the Kings. NHL hockey last night in a shootout, Flames over the Golden Knights 5-4. 3 overtime games, Devils over the Bruins. Blackhawks beat the Senators and the Wild over the Ducks. A couple of shutouts. Maple Leafs shut out the Sabres, and it was the Blue Jackets shutting out the Flyers. Then the Lightning beat the Panthers. Capitals over the Islanders. The Blues were winners over Utah, and it was the Kings defeating the Kraken. Major League Baseball yesterday honoring the memory of Jackie Robinson as the first man to break baseball's color line. That took place 78 years ago yesterday. SRN Sports. And in that Jackie Robinson ceremony, there was a celebration at LA's Dodger Stadium, which included Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who turns 78 today. He grew up as a Robinson fan in Brooklyn as a boy. Dodgers manager Dave Roberts said, "We understand what Jackie Robinson did for our world and our country. It's how you go about life. It's something for me to keep his legacy burning." In play in Major League Baseball, it was the Dodgers over the Rockies 6-2, Cubs down the Padres 2-1, Diamondbacks over the Marlins 10-4, Reds beat the Mariners 8-4, Phillies over the Giants 6-4, Red Sox down the Rays 7-4, Guardians over the Orioles 6-3, Yankees beat the Royals 4-2. It was the Blue Jays over the Braves 6-3. By a 6-3 score, the Twins beat the Mets. It was the Athletics over the White Sox in a 12-3 romp. And then there were 4 shutouts. Brewers over the Tigers, Rangers beat the Angels, Nationals down the Pirates, Astros over the Cardinals. This is SRN Sports.
Time now for a look at sports. I'm Seth Lawrence with this report. Ike Young drove in 5 runs, leading Monticello to an easy 23-4 5-inning run rule win over Champaign St. Thomas More in Illini Prairie Conference High School baseball action Monday in Champaign. Young was 2 for 2 with 2 triples. Hayden Romano tripled and drove in 3 runs, while Eli Kraft, Eric Arnold, and Carter Foran each drove in 2. Kraft, Arnold, and Matthias Rudolph recorded doubles in the win. Brody Bilodeau, Dawson Gitros, and Romano combined on the mound for the win. The Sages are 11-3 overall and improved to 2-1 in the Illini Prairie Conference. They will travel to Mattoon on Tuesday. Luke Clunky struck out 9 across 5 innings of 1-hit ball, leading Normal Community to an easy 14-0 win over Champaign Centennial Monday in Big 12 Conference high school baseball action in Normal. Clunky went the full 5 innings as the Ironmen run-ruled the Chargers. Brady Burkhart was 2 for 3 with a double and 3 RBIs. Gavin Swartz finished 1 for 3 with 2 RBIs, and Lucas Beatty drove in 2 with a double. The Ironmen are 10-3 overall and moved to 7-3 in the Big 12. They visit Centennial on Wednesday. Normal West needed the 5-run lead to hold off Champaign Central 10-8 in Big 12 Conference high school baseball action from Normal Monday. Chase Newth went 4 for 4 with a double and 5 RBIs, helping the Wildcats build a 10-5 lead after 6 innings. The Maroons battled back with 3 runs in the top of the 7th inning, but a late rally fell short. Sean Jenkins was 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs for the Wildcats, while Cooper Temples was 1 for 2 with the double and 2 walks and scored twice. Chase Reinhardt and